cheers.
Cheers. Prost.
I keep forgetting about the glass tap.
I mean,
and everyone that I've done one of these with so far, when I they'll cheers and they'll do it, and I'll be like, oh, kind of.
it's a habit. I don't actually even know what it means.
I don't either. That's a topic for a future beer history class.
Perhaps, yeah.
To do some research.
How to properly cheers, or what different cheersing is in different places.
Exactly. I know you have to do eye contact. I always tend to look at the glasses because I don't want to shatter someone's glass. Well, welcome everybody to another episode of Vibing, where we celebrate, support, and explore local craft beer, local businesses, local people. I'm here with Rachel.
Howdy.
Rachel Benkowski. I would say who you work for, but you have a slew of things that you do.
A few things, yeah.
So I don't want to pigeonhole you into one. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do? What's your main focus, and then what are all your fun little side gigs?
My side hustles
that create everything that is Rachel Benkowski.
Yeah. So I say my 9 to 5, my day job. I work for A Taste of AZ, which is a food and beverage media agency here in Arizona that is Phoenix based. Luke and Eric, they've been in the scene for a very long time, so it was
good people.
It was an awesome transition from a corporate museum job that I was in for 11 years. Yes, where we know each other from. So, And we're here at Bone Haus Brewing today in Fountain Hills, and I've worked here since 2018 when we opened. We opened in April. I started in August. I'm mostly behind the bar or doing beer education stuff, either here at the brewery or out in the world. I'm the founder of a nonprofit organization for women in beer that supports women in beer business called the Beer Babes. We give business grants to women that are trying to improve their beer businesses.
Love that.
Pink Boots is great. They support education. We support business. So it's a nice balance.
Yeah.
And then I'm working on my level 3 advanced Cicerone certification.
Which is incredible. I'm definitely going to want to talk about that.
Be an uber beer nerd.
Yeah. It's a little bit of a bucket list item for me to get at least start with the level 1 and maybe get up to level 2. But for those that don't know what the Cicerone program is, it's like sommelier but for beer.
Yep, exactly.
But there's a whole lot involved, right? From brewing beer to understanding flavors and judging beer, and so. Tell me a little bit about what all that entails.
Sure. So the Cicerone program, there's 4 levels. The first level is Certified Beer Server. So that's kind of just a broad overview of keeping and serving beer, and just having a general knowledge of, as a beer server, as a beer tender, what you're serving to your customers. Level 2, and I kind of think of that as maybe like a high school diploma. So you're well-rounded, you know a little bit about everything, and that's great. And then you can just jump right into, the job.
Right.
Level 2 is called Certified Cicerone. There's about 4,000 people in the world, I believe, that have the certified level. That's the level I currently have. And that is a pretty significant step up. There's 7 different books that have 7 separate exams that you have to pass, and then there's a cumulative exam on all of those courses, plus a blind tasting exam.
Yeah.
And then level 3, there's it's called Advanced Cicerone. There's less than 200 people in the world that have that certification, and that is kind of almost going for a PhD, I would say. Certified would kind of be like a master's degree, I would say. And that is just everything that you do in certified, but more in depth. And like you had said a little bit earlier, it covers everything from keeping and serving. So if you're working at a brewery, brewing processes and techniques, style identification, off flavors, just really diving into everything that is beer. And advanced level gets a little more into the science and the chemistry behind it. So that's definitely something that's hard for me personally, because I'm not good at science or remembering, names, chemical names and chemical compound things. And that's not quite how my brain works, but that's okay. We're going to get through it. And then master is level 4. There's 20 people in the world or so that have that. 25. And that's like literally everything that you can possibly know about beer. Yep.
That's very cool. And so what's the motivation behind, getting the level 3 and getting the level 4, other than your personal interest in it? I mean, is there like a career path that opens up as you go into those higher levels, or like kind of why are you doing it?
I mean, certainly that's the hope.
Yeah.
There's nothing guaranteed.
Sure.
But you kind of are on like a worldwide database of, folks that can be used as resources if you are a brewery or a restaurant or a pub or whatever that's looking for somebody to help with education, or come in and look at your tap lines or your draft lines, or whatever might be going on. I'm doing it because I love learning.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to say that like I'm actually serious about beer,
Yeah.
Because, being a woman and, it's a very male-dominated industry, that's not to say that I haven't had an incredible experience throughout my entire time in beer. But I want to have that like street cred.
Yeah.
You'll be like, oh, actually she does know what the fuck she's talking about.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, I think my interest is definitely like personal. Like it's just more and more interesting the more I get into it, the more interested I get in it. I'm home brewing, so learning more and more about that process and getting better at it. And then do you think that there's always a danger when you start getting like more and more academic about something that like your enjoyment of it kind of maybe diminishes a little bit? Do you find that it's like hard to just like crack open like a Scottsdale Blonde or something and just enjoy it, or is your brain like doing too much at this point now when you taste beer?
No, I can definitely shut it off.
That's good.
Yeah. No,
that's good.
And it's good to be able to do that. And I actually get asked that question a lot. It's like, are you literally critiquing every beer that you're drinking? It's like, no. If I'm out drinking with friends, I am not thinking about, unless it's something that is abhorrently wrong.
Yeah.
Or
that topic of conversation, maybe.
Yeah.
I have a friend who's a PhD in musicology, and when he's like reading or studying or doing anything, he just listens to white noise or like like a monotone just note, because it's too stimulating at this point. And I'm it's cool to be that deep in your craft, but it can also if you don't learn to shut it off, it can be a little
overwhelming,
detrimental to like your enjoyment of it. So
and then that defeats the whole point.
Yeah, right. Well, that's really cool. Tell me a little bit more about Beer Babes, how you started it, and then how far it's come. I know that you're internet. You're in Canada too, right? Beer Babes is in Canada, and so like, how'd you start it, and tell me a little bit about that journey between then and now.
So it started during COVID. Shocker.
Okay. Yeah.
We didn't have jobs at the museum during COVID, so I was at home one night, just kind of drunk scrolling as one does.
Yeah.
And I came across this Instagram post. It was like on my For You page, or whatever it's called.
Sure.
It's called that anymore. And it was a woman in Montreal talking about beer and history and how it applies to Montreal. And I love the city of Montreal. It was a chick talking about beer and also history. And I was like, well, this is cool. Yeah. Like, these are all the things that I love.
Check.
So I just sent her a message. I was like, hey, I love what you're posting about. I love Montreal. Can we be friends, essentially?
Yeah.
And she was like,
Roxy.
Yeah. She was like, hell yeah, we can be friends.
Yeah. That sounds like her.
So,
except with an accent.
Yeah. A French accent. Yes. She's and so, we just started chatting. She invited me to be part of an engagement group because we were both trying to grow our following at that time.
Sure.
So we had started, or she had started one that I joined, and then I had suggested, well, why don't we start one that's like women focused, women in beer? And she was like, yeah, cool, sure, let's do that. So we did. We got 20 women together from all over the world, and we started this interaction group. And you know, for funsies, we were like, oh, let's just call it like the Beer Babes family. You know, we didn't think anything of it. Like it was just like whatever.
The name of the chat.
Yeah. Exactly. But then people started using hashtag Beer Babes Family. And then because there was all of this interaction, other people started seeing like hashtag Beer Babes Family. They were like, what is this?
Yeah.
And we were like, it's nothing. Like we're just,
it's not a thing,
we're just a group of chicks that post about beer. Like that's it.
Sure.
So then other people started using that hashtag too. And then eventually it kind of like just blew up on its own, and everyone was just like Beer Babes Family, hashtag Beer Babes Family.
Heartbeat.
Yeah.
Grew ahead.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. And we had a home brewer here in Cave Creek reach out to us, and he was a friend of one of the gals that I knew that was also in this interaction group. And he was like, hey, I want to brew a beer for you guys, and you can, you know, sell it for donations to whatever charity you want. And it'll be, you know, a Beer Babes collab with me. The home brewer, his name was Ember Brewing. I haven't talked to him in a long time, so I don't know if he's still home brewing or not. Sure. So we did that. He brewed a hibiscus New England IPA. It was a beautiful, like pink color, it's gorgeous. We sold 4 iterations of it.
Wow.
Like people just loved it. We raised $900 and we donated it to the Pink Boot Society. And that kind of got me and Roxy thinking. We were like, well, why can't we, you know, kind of do something like this, but our own?
Yeah.
And then we were thinking, well, like, what would the charity be? How could we be supportive? And her and I are both in the beer business. So we were like, well, Pink Boots does education, so why don't we do, after you're out of school, the business side? Let's do business grants.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what we did. We were legally, you know, granted to be a nonprofit, actually not quotes, but a nonprofit organization in the United States in April of 2022, and then in Canada in December of 2022.
Cool.
And I don't know, this is Roxy's strong point, is like the numbers of everything. We've done probably close to 100 collaborations all throughout North America with different breweries, you know, and they, you know, they're all different sizes. We let them dictate how much money they want to kick back per pint or can sold. The average, I would say, is maybe $1 or a little bit less.
Sure.
Yeah.
And how many grants have you been able to give?
We've done 2 so far, one in 2023 and one in 2024.
Okay, so it's an annual grant.
Yeah, and this year we're going to do 2 grants. We're going to do one in the United States and one in Canada, so that each country gets something.
Yeah. And so are the breweries reaching out to you to do the collabs, or is it a bit of both?
It's a little bit of both.
Sure.
You know, in cities where we've been before, or we maybe have a little bit of a presence, people will reach out to us. But Roxy is hustling all the time. Like she just cold emails like hundreds of breweries per month. Just be like, hey, this is what we are. This is what we do. You know, you want a tax write-off? Let us know, and we'll, you know, we'll get this rolling. So.
Do you travel to most of them?
We try to split it up between the two of us. Roxy travels a lot more than I do.
Right.
She really likes being on the road. I'm more of a schedule-oriented person, so it's averaged to be for me about once a month that I'm going somewhere.
That's
which
awesome.
is a lot, but you know, we have sometimes up to 7 collaborations per month, so like we can't be in all the places, but
Out of all the collabs, do you have, I know it's hard to say a favorite, but has there been one that's kind of like jumped out just off the top of your head right now? I'm sure there's a lot of them, but give me one that has been particularly interesting or special, or a weird style of beer that maybe you hadn't done before, or just something fun like that.
So, so my favorite Babe brew that we've done thus far is a grisette that is from the Granite Brewery in Toronto.
Okay.
The head brewer there, Mayor, she actually won the first year that we gave a grant.
Oh, cool.
And it's just you don't hear that style like ever.
Yeah.
It's a really weird niche, but delicious, saison-y, farmhousey sort of, style. So that was my personal favorite beer that's been brewed so far. This is maybe a little bit biased, but my favorite release to date so far was we had a double release in Wisconsin last month, back in May. It was May 31st, June 1st was the double release. And that was fun because that's where I come from.
Okay.
One of the releases, was close to Milwaukee, which is where American beer literally began.
Yeah.
And my family was there, and it was
Very
just
cool.
special for me.
Yeah.
And Wisconsin is such a great place. Milwaukee's a great drinking town. Highly recommend if you haven't been. I mean, it's just awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah.
How long have you been in Arizona then?
A long time.
Yeah.
Since
You grew up
2001.
there. Okay.
Yeah. No, my family moved here to Fountain Hills when I was 13.
Okay. Did you go to ASU?
Yeah.
Your degree is in like Egyptology or something like that. Is that right?
My graduate degree is in Egyptology. Yes.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
Yeah.
You're basically the lady from The Mummy.
Yeah. Rachel Weisz.
Yeah.
Evie. Yes.
Oh man.
I do love that movie.
It's a great movie.
Yeah.
So what are we drinking right now? What am I drinking?
So you're drinking Legend of the Red Ghost. Traditional, nice, more malt forward, American red.
That's how I like them.
Yeah. It's not quite as malt forward as an Irish red. There's still some American hop, in there, but very approachable. And this is our West Coast. This is the Baron of Arizona. You can see through it. Crispy, bitter, refreshing, I think, when it's hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bone Haus has like a cool, when it comes to the names of the beers and like the stories of the beers and the labels of the beers. Tell me a little bit about, Bone Haus and what the theme is here.
Yeah, sure. So for those that have not been to Bone Haus, the vibe in here is very specific. Everything is very intentional.
Yeah.
And the inspiration comes from two things. One is Arizona history, specifically Arizona mining history in the 1850s. And then the other is the catacombs and ossuaries in Europe, like in Paris and in Rome, where, bones are arranged in these beautiful, artistic displays. Yeah.
Very cool.
And you go to those places and you're reminded of your mortality, but still death can be a beautiful reminder that, life is a gift.
Yep.
So everything in here is skulls and skeletons, and then 1850s mining artifacts and historic antidotes. And our motto is Memento Mori, which is Latin for remember that you die. And so it is the hope that when you're in here and you are seeing the skulls and all the dead things, that you might enjoy yourself and your pint just a little bit more,
I love that.
Yeah.
And the labels on the cans are really cool too. They're very like graphic novel-y. It's a local artist that does them, right?
Yeah, his name's Mike Whelan. The owner here at Bone Haus, Keith, worked with him at Fender Guitars for many years. The original artwork was all done by Mike. Recently, we've kind of shifted towards more like old school photography kind of vibe. Yeah. We've gotten a really good response from customers about that. They feel like it kind of matches the brewery a little bit better.
That's fair.
Less comic book and more like old tintype photographs. So you'll see both of those things out, in bottle shops and Total Wine and all that sort of stuff.
And so in your time here, you started this kind of beer history education sort of series, and then now that's grown and you're doing it at several other breweries in town, right? Yeah. Beer history?
Yeah, so I started, I called it beer school, not that that's, inventive or anything. If you Google beer school, there's plenty of other people that have thought of that. But it's once a month. It's a 1 hour, very informative, fun tasting class. So I pick a flight of beers, whatever it is that we have that's new or different or that I want to talk about. And then we all sit down together and we look at the beer, we smell the beer, we taste the beer, we talk about what, you're perceiving. And then, I go on, a 10-minute diatribe about history or brewing practices or style, specifications or, whatever I think might be interesting to talk about pertaining to that beer that we're trying.
How many people usually are in those sessions?
In the busy season, we fill up the whole room over there, so 30 or so people.
That's awesome.
It dies off big time in the summer. Yeah. Shocker, but yeah.
So does everything else.
Yep.
That's why I've recorded 4 of these this week. So are you kind of using that as a way to sort of practice and like dial in what you're learning on the Cicerone side? Like, are you using it kind of as an outlet for like?
It definitely helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know teaching something helps to retain it further. So
absolutely.
That's really cool. And are most of them here, or are you kind of rotating around now?
If a tap room wants to hire me to come do a beer school, they absolutely can. There's been I've done a few at Greenwood, and then I've done several actually at Wicked Rain out in Gilbert.
Okay.
If it will work for your customers, then that's great. And
is it a ticketed thing?
Yeah,
okay.
But I don't run the ticketing or anything. Whoever's hosting me, that's their.
Okay. How much is it? How do people find out about it?
The best way would probably be through my Instagram. I try to promote the events there for sure.
Which is?
Brews with Benkowski. Yeah.
I'll put it on the thing.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So beer consumers, I think, are inherently kind of nerdy.
Yeah.
And people
even more so when you get into the brewers too, the home brewers.
Oh my gosh.
That nerdiest group of people.
They're a different level of nerd for sure. Absolutely. And even somebody on that high of a level of knowledge of brewing, maybe they don't have a high level knowledge of history or serving beer in a taproom setting.
Yeah.
So I try to be able to provide in these beer schools something that hopefully everybody can learn a little tidbit something from. And I try to keep it pretty diverse in what I talk about. Like here at Bone Haus, I'm doing it once a month. I've been doing it since 2021. Like that's a lot of information.
Yeah.
But it is my promise, because I have people that come every month, that I will never talk about the same thing twice.
Oh boy.
Which is a good challenge for me too.
Especially having done it for 4 years.
Yeah.
That's
yeah. And it's a lot of fun, and it's and I think that they have kept me to my word.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
If you had to pick, like right now, your kind of favorite style of beer that you're gravitating more to than anything, would it be like the Westies or?
So for an IPA, yeah, definitely a Westie. I mean, my favorite.
You mean you don't like milkshake IPAs?
No. No, I have a really hard time stomaching those. They're just sweet.
Yeah.
I'm not a big sweet person.
Okay.
They're a great gateway style of beer. I understand their place and purpose, and that's great. But no, and my favorite style overall would be a Saison or a Farmhouse.
Okay.
Just because, like we were talking about a little bit earlier before we were on camera, like it's a very diverse style.
Yeah.
Is it going to be funky? Is it going to be herbal? Is it going to be floral? Is it going to be really bitter? What's the carbonation level going to be?
What's a quick? I'm going to quiz you here. What's the quick little history on the Saison as a style? I know you know. I'm just.
Yeah. No. So Saison is it's a French word. It means season. Mm-hmm. It originated in the French-speaking region of Belgium, right. And it's a seasonal beer. So Saison and Farmhouse, they're kind of used as synonyms in at least the beer menu world. They're technically not the same, but in what we're talking about right now, I'm just going to say Saison or Farmhouse styles, because each farm that was making, their beer for their household, they would be using the plants, the herbs, the flowers, the grain, whatever they were growing in that beer.
Right.
And so each iteration would be different. And then also, there's some wild spontaneous fermentation going on in there too. The yeast that's in the farmhouse, like it changes everything for, that beer. So, two neighbors would have had two completely different beers.
Yep.
That's why I love it.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, I do this kind of fun sort of rapid fire 20 questions.
Okay.
But feel free to elaborate as much as you want. Some of these I'm still honing them in, so some of these are maybe a little repetitive, like the first two end up always being repetitive. But if you had to pick a favorite food, what's your favorite food?
Ah, shit. I mean, the first thing that came to my head when you said that
beer, you could say beer. Beer's food. No,
it certainly is. Sushi was the first thing that came to my head when you said that.
That's great.
Yes.
Love sushi.
Yeah.
You like Mexican food or Italian food better?
Oh, Mexican.
This seems like a silly question, but beer, wine, or spirits?
Burr.
And we already talked about your favorite, so sweet or savory?
Savory.
Savory, you mentioned. A lot of these we kind of touch on.
That's all right.
Yeah.
It's a review.
Your favorite vacation you've been on?
Oh, well, it wasn't a vacation, but going to Egypt. It's my favorite. Yeah.
It wasn't a vacation because you were doing it for school or what?
Yeah. I was
That's
there.
Really cool.
Was excavating a tomb.
No way.
Yeah. Pulling bodies and artifacts out of the ground.
All right, well, now I have to ask. Okay, so where in Egypt, was that kind of in an area that people would know? Like, was it near?
It was in Luxor. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, right near the temple of Hatshepsut. A lot of people, if you just Google Temple of Hatshepsut, you'll see it. Everyone has seen it before. It was a noble's tomb. His name was Harawa.
Okay.
And I was there working as an epigrapher, technically, which is recording the inscriptions on the walls. But I was also there with an Italian team that was doing archaeology and pulling literally bodies upon bodies out of the tomb to try to get down to like the level that was Harawa's level, which is the whole reason why, they were there. It was probably the coolest thing I've ever done.
That sounds unbelievable. When was this?
It was winter of 2009, 2010. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that sounds so sounds like something out of a movie. Like Indiana Jones or something. Like,
I mean, that's what it's like.
Yeah.
No, it's.
But maybe less dodging bullets.
There's no guns.
No whips.
No whips. Some people do still dress like Indiana Jones, though. Which,
I would. I would 100%. I would be in character.
Yeah, just say you certainly would. Of all the people, you would.
Oh my God, what a dream! That sounds so cool. Rain or sunshine?
Oh, sun.
Yeah.
Rain makes me depressed and sleepy.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Your favorite book?
So the only book I've ever read twice in my whole life.
Interesting.
And I think I would like to read it again. Is American Gods by Neil Gaiman.
Okay.
I read it for the first time. I was doing contract archaeology work up in the Boundary Waters in Minnesota, and one of my crewmates, he was reading it, and he just gave it to me when he was done. He's like, "You have to fucking read this book."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Okay, Charlie, fine." And I read it, and I was like, "This is really cool." And then I read it again after I got out of grad school. And then shortly after that is when the show came out on, what was it, Stars or something?
Is that with Jeff Goldblum? Or am I thinking of
No, that's a newer gods show.
Got it. Okay.
Greek gods. I can't remember what that one's called.
Yeah.
It's
I have seen American.
Concept.
I haven't seen American Gods, but I've seen it on the list. You know what I mean? I've never watched it. But that's very cool.
Yeah.
I'll have to read it. Camping or resort?
Camping.
Beach or forest?
How about a forest on a beach?
Okay.
Does that work? Get the best of both worlds?
Jedi or Sith?
All right, so I know nothing about Star Wars.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I get made fun of all the time.
Yeah.
But I don't. The Jedis are the good guys, right?
Yeah.
I gotta go for the good guys then, I guess.
I mean, yes and no. I don't know.
I don't know enough of the story to even have like a real
Okay,
opinion.
what about this one though? Sam or Frodo?
So I have seen a couple of the movies.
Okay.
Sam.
I get the feeling that that's going to be the most common answer for that one. Superhero you most identify with?
Again, it's not the world I'm in. I don't know.
John Lane said Captain Underpants, which I that was really funny.
That's perfect.
And then Andrew Bauman said Ant-Man, which I thought was also very accurate. Spirit animal.
Well, I mean, my initial thought is a horse. I'm a big horse person, but also probably some sort of like bird. Just minding your own business, you know, flying around sort of thing. Like some bird that's like solo all the time.
Yeah, like an owl.
Maybe.
Or like a raven.
Ravens are cool, and they're
Ravens
smart.
are cool. They're super smart.
Yeah. Sure, we'll go with raven. There's a lot of ravens in around Bone Haus too.
Well,
so.
and, you know, your other Instagram is the Red Shield Maiden.
Yes.
There's like a Nordic sort of Viking vibe there, and the ravens are.
Yeah.
Go-to coffee shop order.
I do love a dirty chai.
Okay.
But sometimes that can be a little too sweet for me. I'm kind of just like an iced latte or a cold brew with a splash of half and half in there.
There you go.
And that's it. Yeah.
Go-to karaoke song.
I don't like karaoke. Probably Spice Girls, anything by the Spice Girls.
There you go.
Or anything by Shania Twain.
Nice.
Yeah.
The weirdest food you've ever tried.
I ate a pig eyeball once.
Interesting.
And also a squid eyeball one time too.
It's like describe the texture of that. Is it like a grape? Like does it burst like a grape?
The pig eyeball came off of a pig that had been on a spit roasting for like 3 days.
Okay.
So it was like a grape that is too old, so it's like it's like shriveled, you know.
You're really selling it.
There's still a little bit of moisture in there, you know, like that.
Okay, great. It sounds.
It was very
delightful.
salty. It was salty. Yeah. It was a dare. Of course I'm gonna do it. It's an eyeball. I'm not scared.
Yeah.
If anything, don't chew it and just swallow it whole. Like, come on.
Oh man.
The squid eyeball was in high school. We had a trip to Catalina Island for like our senior trip or whatever. Oh no, I'm sorry. It wasn't high school. It was middle school graduation. So 8th grade graduation. Went to Catalina Island and we were dissecting squids. And the teacher that was teaching the dissection class was like, all right, if anyone has the guts to eat the eyeball, it's completely safe, I promise. And I was like,
I'm not surprised at all. Incredible. Your guilty pleasure food item.
I don't know if I feel guilty about any food item, honestly.
That's great. But you know what I mean? Like, for me, it's like Nutella or sourdough Jack from Jack in the Box. I know I shouldn't eat it, but it's just so tasty.
Now you said Jack in the Box. The first thing I thought of was their jalapeno poppers.
Okay.
Love those.
Yeah. That counts. I think that's a guilty pleasure.
Or like Cadbury eggs.
Okay.
So sweet that they hurt my teeth, but like sometimes if it's Easter, I'll be like,
yeah.
It's time.
It's time.
It's time.
Go to ice cream flavor.
Probably mint chocolate chip.
Mint chocolate chip.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And your favorite TV show?
Oh man.
Or like the latest. What's the latest one that you've been binging?
Of course, now that you're asking me this, I can't remember anything, even though I have been watching television. I recently started rewatching The Nanny.
Okay.
Which is bizarre, but also I grew up watching that.
Yeah.
Love Fran Drescher. Started rewatching House again.
Oh yeah, House MD.
Yes.
Love that show.
Yes.
I love that show.
I kind of been like watching more documentaries lately.
Yeah.
I guess rather than shows.
Also doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. But I'm pretty open. The only thing I don't like watching is scary stuff.
Okay.
I am a huge chicken. Like,
you'll eat a squid
big
eye,
time. But I can't look at ghosts on the TV. That's I will leave the room.
Yeah.
I'm a scaredy cat for sure.
That's fair. Yeah, back when The Mummy first came out, I couldn't watch it. It was too scary for me. But I can
understand that though. That was
there was like a lot of suspenseful moments. It was more suspense that always I had problems with. Yeah, like my sister for her birthday when she was like 16 or something had like a scary movie night, and they watched Children of the Corn, and they were like, "You can't be in the room. You can't watch this. It's too scary." And so I kind of snuck in and like stood in the back and watched like 15 minutes of it, like during like what seemed to be the scariest part.
Yeah.
Like, this is just dumb. Like it's a bunch of kids. Like what is this?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of scary movies like that I don't find particularly scary. Like Paranormal Activity I thought was
That's
silly.
probably a lot of suspense too, right? Yeah.
But it's like the really, really jumpy stuff that I get stressed out.
Yeah. No, I don't like when my heart rate goes up when I'm sitting there. I'm like, this is not fun.
Yeah.
My fight or flight is being triggered, and I want to flee.
Cortisol level.
Yes.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, is there anything that for the people that watch this, is there anything that you might want to plug or promote that is exciting that's coming up?
Exciting that's coming up? I mean, Copper State Beer Fest, which is in January, which isn't coming up. That's like, not coming up for a while. That's a big event that I'm, involved in, and the Beer Babes is involved in every year. We're the charity beneficiary, and we help facilitate a lot of what happens at the festival. If you're interested in, beer nerd stuff, Cicerone stuff, beer school stuff, reach out to me on Instagram, and I'm happy to talk with anybody about any sort of beer related stuff. That's what I love, just sharing the beauty of beer and everything that it is.
Very cool.
That's all I got.
Awesome. What's your next trip for?
I'm going to Eugene, Oregon in mid-July for a Beer Babes release.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, follow Beer Babes on Instagram.
Yes, please. Beer Babes family. Yep.
Follow Brews with Benkowski.
Yeah.
And very, very, very cool. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I drank my beer, but we'll cheers.
I've been doing all the talking.
Yeah,
that's
I know,
why.
right? And I'm just over here, as per usual. Well, thank you, and we'll see you guys next time. This is super awesome. I'll put all of Rachel's stuff in the description, and I'm sure we'll do more stuff together.
Hell yeah!
You can't get rid of me.
You can't get rid of me either. Bye.